I'm really excited. I'm sure you guys are, you've worked so hard on this. I know it was a labor of love, and now we get to see a little bit more of it today. David, talk to me about becoming the Man of Steel. Like, what goes into preparing for this role, both physically but also mentally?
Well, I think that they happened at the same time. I started in the gym. That was James' second thing that he said to me was, I want you to work on your shoulders and your vulnerability.
That's true.
So about a month into my intense gym routine, I realized that I think I was preparing for the role mentally by spending every day several hours by myself lifting very heavy things. There's a certain solitude that comes in the gym,
right?
You're just there with yourself, and you're the only one holding yourself accountable. Well, obviously Paolo, my trainer, was, but there's something.
Oh, Paolo's gonna be so happy.
It deserves a mention. But I think Superman has a certain solemn loneliness to him, where he wants so desperately to be connected to humanity.
Totally.
And he'll never quite be one of them. So I found a little piece of that early on.
So James, how did the shoulders turn out? How did the vulnerability turn out?
It was terrible. It was from the moment he stepped on set, he was. No, listen. I mean, this guy's one of a kind. I knew from the moment that I first got his tape, his first audition tape, that there's something really special about him. And the same thing with these other two actors. This is, the best group of 3 actors I've ever worked with. I've worked with many better groups of 2 actors.
This is the best of the 3.
In terms of 3 together, never had 3 a trio. No. But this has been just a fun ride. I think from the beginning we wanted to make a movie that was about hope. We wanted to make a movie that was about the goodness in people. We wanted to make a movie about kindness in a world that's so often bereft of kindness. Yeah. That's what this Superman is about. That's what the character is about. That's what the character is about. Not your character so much. He's a piece of but the other two.
Not so much vulnerable. There's not a lot of vulnerability there.
Oh, just see the movie.
That's true. I mean, I'm ready for some layers to every character, especially Lois as well. I mean, Rachel, talk to me about perfecting Lois Lane, because where there's vulnerability, there's also strength in Lois. I'm curious, how much of a say did you have in developing her and the way Lois presented herself?
Well, James gave us a really great roadmap. James has spent more time with these characters than any of us had at that point, and so the script was the first and best place to start. And then from there, we had a lot of conversations just about where these characters, and for me, where Lois fit into the canon of the ones that came before, and where this relationship fit into that canon too. And then I had a chance to talk to some journalists and figure out how to find my way inside her head.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I'd be remiss not to acknowledge the paper dress. I mean, it's giving a little Daily Planet for CinemaCon, right?
Newspaper.
I love it. Now, on the first trailer that was released, fans were eating up the Superman and Lois Lane kiss, floating in the sky. I have to imagine that took a lot of preparation to go into it. What do you guys most remember about shooting that particular scene?
Oh, gosh.
David, what do you remember the most?
I mean,
all the onions you ate.
Well, it's a lot. I mean, it feels a lot less romantic when you're being hoisted in the air by your underwear, which is essentially how the harnesses work.
He has one less testicle since
Wow.
One fewer.
One fewer.
You're down to 2. The sacrifices you made for this movie, It looked epic though. It looks good.
I had a great time. I feel like it was my first time flying when we shot that. So I feel like I showed up and I was like, this is amazing. We're hanging in the air and let's hang out and have fun. And David was like, I've been doing this for 3 months. Yeah. But it was great. I mean, we'd been waiting for that scene for such a long time.
It was after they said cut every time, we got to sort of hang there and actually look at each other.
Ballet.
We did a little air ballet.
I got teary-eyed though. I gotta admit, like
You cried.
if you remember, it was the one time I cried. Like,
Listen.
I don't cry that much.
Yeah.
I cried twice.
You cry off when we're not working quite a lot.
Yeah.
About
other stuff.
About the emptiness of my life.
But you were moved by
with
this
you.
one.
I was moved by the scene. I started crying, and Rachel was like, "How did it go?" And I'm like, "Oh, look at
Yeah, I
that."
think we have it.
And I'm like, and it was so beautiful, and it's a shot that's in the movie that made me. That's in the trailer that made me cry.
Well, you also played the score.
The score
while we
that
shot it.
John Murphy wrote the score, the Love's theme,
That
before the movie. And so we played the score during the shooting of it. And there was just one moment where I'm like, oh my God, this is the kind of movie that I would have loved to have seen as a kid or as a young person, just that magical cinematic feel that you get when you're sitting in the theater and you feel so happy and you just start to love the people around you.
That's
more
how I
than
felt
you
watching
did.
the trailer, honestly.
that's
That was
good.
just a little taste of it.
Yeah.
Nicholas, you shaved your head, obviously, for Lex Luthor. You also did it for Mad Max. I gotta say, bald is beautiful on you, man. It really, really is. This time around, your son cut your hair, is that right?
Oh yeah, he did. I gave him the clippers, and I was like, "How about it?
Please, you're like, I
Can't
need to go
really
home."
mess this up." So
Yeah.
he enjoyed
Was
it.
he excited that he's like a small part of this now?
Well,
Of
you
the
know what?
transformation,
One
I
of the
should
most
say.
exciting things for me is like this is a movie I'm thrilled that he's going to be able to watch. And
Yeah.
there's- like you were saying, there were magic moments for me on set, seeing the imagery that James was inspired by from the comics and seeing those come to life on the screen.
Yeah.
I had moments where I was like, this is going to be magical, and I can't wait to share those with him in the cinema. So that's going to be a very special thing. And also, selfishly for me, the other day I got to see like the Lex Luthor
The
toy.
action figure.
And I'm like, I can't wait to buy that and gift it to them and be like,
Was it surreal?
because then when I play, I can be like, I can do the voice.
I love it.
I can be really.
I love it.
I can remember all the lines.
That's pretty
It can
awesome.
be like, fun reenacting at home.
Is it safe to say Lex has a fresh and different look in this take?
Yeah, I mean, he's much like he's. I mean, listen, you're the best looking.
If I had
mean,
that
he's-
bone structure, I would take this down.
Yeah, well, he told me every day. He said, as long, I don't care about the acting part of this, as
wanna
long as
look
I
good.
look hot.
Sexy
yeah.
Lexi.
Yeah. But he,
I want
no,
that
but
on a t-shirt.
Right?
I always had this image of this, long, tall, like Lex who wears these, really wonderful suits. He is a vain character. He was inspired by some of the more vain Lex.
I love that.
Vain actor.
Which he is not at all.
No.
By
Of
the
course
way,
not, no.
he's by far the nicest person on set, for real. And having him play Lex makes it so much fun. But I don't know what it is about so many of the best villains on screen are played by the nicest people.
Aw.
It's off. in
It's
the
acting.
face. And so many of the greatest heroes are played by just the biggest jerks you could
Isn't
ever.
that so strange how that
Isn't that
happens?
weird? I mean,
He's really coming for you on
You
this
know,
one, huh? I love it.
Me?
No, real quick, you guys, you invited Will Reeves to shoot a cameo. What was it like to have him on set to pay homage to his dad?
I think we not only had Will Reeve on set, but we also had Jerry Siegel's grandchildren in the Daily Planet, and so one of the creators of Superman, and so it was really cool to be attached to the actual legacy of this wonderful character and have that be a part of who we are. We had all of the comic books, all of the biggest living comic book artists and writers of Superman over the past 40 years came to set and were sat on set with us, and those guys were like crying. It was the scene where he throws your desk across, when you throw his desk across the
I
room.
was just not spoiling that in an interview earlier. But great
He's
scene.
allowed though, right?
Great
now.
scene.
Also, we got to watch the Christopher Reeve story documentary. You showed
Yeah.
that to us
Yes.
before we started shooting.
Before
It
you
was very
started.
emotional
Yeah.
for all of us, and
Yeah.
a special way to start off this journey.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
clear Superman was in the right hand, so I'm excited.